All right, it looks like we are recording. So, welcome to May's Teams Talk Tuesday, May of 2023. That's hard to believe. This Sunday, happy Mother's Day for all you mothers, and for if your mothers are still around, I hope be sure to wish them a happy Mother's Day. Today we're going to do some. I'm going to do coming soon first, just because I forgot to do this important announcement last month. So I'm going to start with the coming soon, and then what's new. And then today's features, I should say, I guess there's more than one because it's all deals with bookings. And so we're going to talk about Microsoft bookings and bookings with me and something called virtual appointments. And so we'll introduce some virtual appointments. But we'll start off with, I'm going to share my screen. So let me drag you all to the other side of the table here and click on my screen. But the first thing I'm going to talk about as far as coming soon, again, I'll start off with that, is they being Microsoft, they are rewriting from the ground up a new Microsoft Teams. And I want to make sure everybody's aware of that. And I'm hoping in Teams, I think what's going to happen is you'll have a little toggle up here at the top of your window where you can try the new version when it rolls out to our tenant. Our tenant, of course, being the University of Missouri. But it's rewritten from the ground up. I don't think they realize how fast and how robust Teams was going to be. It's the fastest growing application that Microsoft has ever had. But anyway, the new Teams, the interface is going to look kind of like it does now. They didn't want to really, kind of make everybody have to learn the whole thing again. But there'll be a few differences. But behind the scenes, it's going to use a lot less memory. It's going to be more streamlined, over twice as fast as it currently is. It's going to have a lot of AI built into it because that's kind of how everything's headed, right? The artificial intelligence. It's also going to have, which I'm going to enjoy because I'm on different tenants. So right now you see up at the top, I'm on University of Missouri. If I want to go over like to Microsoft or Texas or Florida, I have to switch between the different locations, the different tenants. Well, with the new Teams, I don't have to switch tenants. I'm anxious to see how that works. But let me just show you the video here. And you know what I did not do? Let me turn on my video, my audio. Let me turn on some audio sound. Okay, so I'm gonna play this video for you all, and it's gonna show a little promo. Welcome to the new era of Microsoft Teams. It's only about a minute and a half.
These days, you need tools with the speed, simplicity, and intelligence to keep up with the pace of collaboration. That's why we're introducing the new Teams, redesigned from the ground up and built on a new foundation of speed and performance to give you a modern workplace. Working together has never been easier with a simplified and streamlined Teams experience, ensuring that you stay in the flow across all your chats, meetings, apps, and accounts. With everything you need all in one place, you can focus on what matters most to you. With Teams, you can come together without friction and see everyone eye to eye, even when it's time to present. Now, you can let the conversation come with you, keeping everyone and everything in one place. And connect seamlessly with anyone, even if they're outside of your organization. The new Teams is more intelligent than ever, infused with next-gen AI from top to bottom. You can run more effective meetings by getting up to speed and getting answers, all without interrupting the flow of the discussion. And keep you and your team on the same page afterwards. You can give Teams custom touches to match your preferences and lift up the team with new ways to celebrate, no matter where you are. Teams is your modern workplace, reimagined from the ground up to be faster, simpler, and smarter, so your team and business can thrive.
All right. So, for those of you all I have not met Lisa. Lisa's on the line here with me as well. Let me stop sharing this. Lisa is the new trainer that's helping working with me, And so Lisa and I will be busy as soon as we can get a sneak peek at this. We'll have to start developing training, record that, and make it available, and then of course offer group sessions with that because you know, everybody, not everybody, but most people across the university system is now using Teams. And I know there's some, like I said, there's some differences that'll take just a little bit getting used to. So, all right, let me look. So that's what's the first thing that is coming soon. As far as what's new, one thing that Microsoft is doing, and I just might as well leave this on my sharing my screen. I'll leave my sound on there just in case. And I'm glad Microsoft is finally doing this. They are standardizing on their top level domain. So when you look up something from Microsoft, it will be, you know, right now you might get Microsoft365.com or SharePoint.com or Office.com. They have just a bunch of different places, and we're never sure, even especially as a security standpoint, if this is some kind of spam or. But now they're finally going to a unified domain. So everything's going to end with cloud.microsoft, cloud.microsoft, whether it's Sway or Viva, but everything's going to end with cloud.microsoft. That's going to be the new domain for Microsoft. And I think they're starting that with anything they put out that's new. They'll have that, and then they'll slowly migrate existing addresses to the new URL, right? All right. The next thing I want to show, I use, let's see, it's Windows Shift S. So if you on a Windows machine, if you use a Windows Shift S, it allows you to have a little clipping tool, right? So I can highlight it and it puts it in my clipboard. They've added to the snipping tool. So if I go down on the Windows machine to my start and I type in snipping and bring up the snipping tool, not only can you simply take a picture, right now the picture, which is Windows logo key, Shift S, but now you can also do a recording. So you can record, I think it gives you a countdown, like, you know, starting at 3 seconds. Once you stop the recording, you have the option of saving it or sharing it. By default, it's saved in your videos folder on OneDrive. It only does the video. Right now, it doesn't support any audio, so it's not like I could use for training. But just you can video record your screen. It also currently only supports MP4 formats, and there's also no shortcut key. Like right now, we do Control Shift S, like the snipping tool. Right now, you have to go into the snipping tool to do the video currently. Okay, I need to scroll this down because this little animation behind there was kind of distracting me. Okay, let me pull up for the next new feature. I'm going to go back into Teams. One thing that everybody uses a lot, I'm sure, in Teams is the chat feature, right? So if I'm chatting with a group of people, and I'm going to pick on this is how I do it group. Usually when you hit a chat, you'll see this, the chat feature increment by 1 if I haven't read it yet. What I can do, this is a chat group. It looks like I have 4 people in this chat group here. But I'm going to send something to the group. But now I can do an @mention. And let's say I want everybody in this group to be notified. And when I do an @mention, like in Teams, in a Teams post, it'll show up in the activity. Now you're able to do that within a chat. You can have it show up in their activity. And if I want everybody to do it, you could always @mention somebody, but now you can add everyone. And so notify everyone in the chat. So if this is something maybe I really want people to be alerted to, I would use @everyone. It'll put that in the activity. So just the @everyone is a new feature. Let's see. Virtual, let me go to a virtual team thing because I can't show you while I'm in a Teams session here. So let me find my virtual Teams meeting here. Okay. So what I want to show you is when you're in a Teams meeting, which this is in a meeting. Let me do this. I'm going to leave this meeting. So let me just start a meeting. I'm going to say meet now. So in a meeting, you can do this before or you can do it once you started the meeting. Let me just show you that. I'm just going to join this virtual meeting so I can show you. At the top, just like you see in Teams, you have the ability to add applications now. And so you can add a polling and you can prepare your poll ahead of time. So all the questions are already ready for the meeting. And actually, it's showing right now. It gives you a little pop-up, add an app. So what I can do, the little plus here, I can pick on either polling or form. It's the same thing. I think they're going to rename it eventually in a Teams meeting to polls. POLL. Okay, it's running a little slow in this virtual, but okay, here's forms or polls against both of them. So I can add a poll and I'm not going to go through the process, but you all can play with that. You can create your polling ahead of time and then click on that poll and it'll automatically put it in your meeting. But since mine is running slow, I won't spend much time showing you that. But this is nice because you're able to do that within a channel meeting. You could do it for a while. I mean, you've been be able to do this for a while in a regular meeting, but now you have the ability to do it in a channel meeting. And that's what I wasn't showing you. So if you go to a Teams channel, create a meeting there, you'll be able to add that polling ability. I'm just going to my Teams Talk Tuesday here, which I'm already in that meeting. But if I go back to a previous meeting in April, I'll pull up my my team meeting here, and then I can edit add a tab. I can add a poll. Okay, so that's a new feature within a channel meeting. Okay, enough about that. Whiteboard. So there's a couple of things I want to show you in a whiteboard meeting. If you're not familiar with whiteboard, it's a way that you can brainstorm. So the new thing that you're able to do in a meeting. Let's see, I'm in a meeting here. Wait, let me make sure. Yeah, this is my virtual meeting. I'm going to share a whiteboard. Okay, so when I go now to share, rather than sharing a screen or sharing a window, that you can share a whiteboard. Then everybody in the meeting, of course, can work on the whiteboard. That's been around. What I can do now, when you first comes up, you have the option of creating a whiteboard ahead of time. So it's called reusable whiteboards. So I can have all these. I could set them up before a meeting, or it'll also save the whiteboards for future meetings. So it's just a way that you can have a whiteboard to choose from, a reusable whiteboard. So then if I click on this whiteboard, it'll bring up the whiteboard that we've been collaborating on in the past. And the reason I chose this whiteboard, one of the things that was shown in the new Microsoft Teams app coming out is something called Microsoft Loop. We've been talking about Loop for a while. Now, within Whiteboard, you can't start a loop, and I'll show you what loop here is in a second, but I can copy loop from, say, Teams. Let me just grab my team. So here's my normal Teams. So in a chat, you can start, if you're not familiar with the loop, you can start a loop and it's just a living file. So I can take that living file and I can work on it within Teams. I can send an email out to people and they can collaborate on the same document. Like I can make a list of things and everybody who has rights to it can update that loop. Well, now you can copy that loop. I'm gonna make a just to show you. Let me just make a bullet here. I don't know who I'm talking to here. Oh, this is a demo. And I'm gonna send it to this chat group. Okay. They'll have to forgive me. So when I send it to them, now everybody on this chat group can collaborate in real time on this. What I can do now with the whiteboard, I can copy the link to this loop component, and I can place it in the whiteboard. And this is something that Lisa and I had have done, and we were testing it. But then anybody in this meeting, since I gave them rights, they would be able to come in here and they could collaborate on it. So that's the one thing that's an addition in the whiteboard. You can't start, right now you can't start a loop component, but you can paste one in here and collaborate on it. Okay, and it's a one file, so everybody's collaborating on that one loop component, that loop file. Now, the other thing I can't show because not all of us are in this whiteboard, but if I have more than one person in a meeting in the whiteboard, and if I'm presenting here, and I said, yeah, everybody can collaborate, I'll have an option down here at the bottom that says follow me, because anybody can scroll around in the whiteboard, right? You can move around on the whiteboard, look around. But if I want to highlight something and show people something, I can click on the option that says follow me. Everybody comes back to where I'm at. Of course, the people that are on the meeting have to say, yeah, I accept to follow you. They don't have to follow me, but I've kind of, you might say, I'm going to ask you all to follow me here for a second. Okay. The next thing, I have two more things before we get into our talk here. One is, I'll just mention this. When you go to share a PowerPoint live, the end users now have the ability underneath the slides that I'm sharing with them, they have a magnified slide. So if they need to zoom in on the slide, now they have the ability to just hit magnify slides and they can change the zoom setting on that slide. So, and each person can, they have their own magnification that they can do. So I'll just mention that. So you might check that out. The last thing is the improved active sharing in a window. So instead of sharing a whiteboard, if you used Zoom or anything else, we're used to sharing windows or screens. So if I click on, I want to share a window, and let me make sure I'm doing this right. Yes. If I say share a window, what happens now is, which one do I want to share? Let's share this one. Let's share the screen. You will see an active sharing window pop up. And right now I'm sharing my whole window, but this active sharing window pops up. And this is handy if like people have a response or a hand raised. There's a way to track participants easier when you're sharing your screen or sharing your window. Okay. All right. Any questions on any of that? All right. I'm going to stop sharing. And I'm going to minimize, actually, I can just get out of this. This is my virtual desktop. All right, let's get into bookings. Okay, so Microsoft has kind of three different types of bookings. If you want to think of bookings, they have the traditional Microsoft bookings, which is what Lisa and I use for our training. And the traditional bookings offer services. Okay, so let me just go out to, let's go out to office.com and I'll just show you the traditional bookings. Sorry, I should have this up and running here. So under the app launcher, the waffle menu, if you click on that, of course, you can see all the applications that Microsoft has, or we have here at the university for Microsoft. And one of them is called Microsoft Bookings. Now, a department or an area can request a booking page. So you'd have to request a booking page. It's a free service. And to give you an idea of what that looks like, here's our training one. And I'm going to pull up the training one. I'm not going to modify that much, but I just want to show you some of the settings in there. So I'm going to pull up the training. I will tell you ahead of time that bookings was initially created for small businesses. I think it was even a hair salon. Because if you go through this, you'll see it'll ask, well, what services do you offer? What prices do you want to place on your services? We tell people when they set up a booking, we start from the ground up, from the bottom up. So integration, we don't play with that very much, but the business information, right? You can have the logo, some basic details about your business. You can, give a description. The currency, for what we do, we don't charge. Or maybe if you have a website for your business hours, your typical business hours for training, I just put 8 to 4. So that's just kind of a standard information about your business. And then if you go on up, the services you offer. Now within Microsoft 365 or our training, we've added Zoom. People's been asking for Zoom training. So we just say Zoom. With Lisa starting out, she's doing some OneDrive, and we'll add some other services specific for that. And we offer just 1 hour consultation or 30-minute consultation about anything Microsoft 365. Okay. So we set those up. Now you can have a location to the booking page in general, which I'll show you. But let's say Lisa wants to advertise just for her Zoom training. So she could come to the Zoom service and she could say, here's my specific link to just this service. So if I click on that, it'll go just to it's going to ask me to log in. It's going to go to the just the service for Zoom. And the reason this is we have our training set up just for people within our University of Missouri tenant. And that's another option. You can also open it up for anybody outside the university. But I'll show you that here in a second. Said 5 hit 4. Okay. So it would go right to the Zoom. Okay, so this is what it will look like to the end user. Okay. So these are the different services you can do within here. Then the staff can be, we think of staff as, university staff, but staff can be faculty and staff or students, but staff could also be a resource like a car. Maybe you have vehicles that people need to book or rooms they need to book. You can set that up with different calendared, anything that has a calendar. And you put it in here, and let's say that they need to book a room, right? You can say a 30-minute, an hour or a 30-minute booking for a room, and it'll pick the first one that's available. Okay, so you could use a resource as a staff. In our case, we have users, of course, that are staff. And then within that staff, it says what services like does Lisa support. It'll show right now she's working on the OneDrive or the Zoom. I'm not sure what services I have. I have everything but Zoom. So Lisa has the Zoom. Okay. The bookings page. Now this is where I said right now our group is only available to people within our organization. If I drop that down, I can say it's available to anybody. So maybe you need a service for people outside the university, then you can definitely switch this and then copy your bookings link, or you can email it out or embed it into your website. Okay. And then the calendar of the booking. Once people make bookings, we come here and we can modify it if we need to. But one thing I didn't show you under staff, let's say under staff, if I come here to Lisa and I'm going to edit Lisa's staff, she can set her own hours. But what makes it nice is it events on the Outlook calendar. So it works with your Outlook. So it'll look at Lisa's Outlook and it'll see when she's available. She can also, let's see, it's not using in the business hours. It's only using her calendar. Okay. But you can say a custom time. So let's say they're only able to book you from on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesdays. Here's where you do it. Okay. Don't use the business hours, but you can customize the hours, the times that you're available. So look at your calendar. This is your edit staff. But let's say that Lisa only wants to be available on from like 8 to a certain time, 8 to 12. Okay, on Mondays, and you can set your time, or if you need if you're going to have a lunch break, and then 1 to 4. Okay, sorry about that. It is based on the staff. So when the staff's available, so the staff is only available to book at certain times on certain days. So you can set that. I'm going to discard those changes. Okay, so I just want to give you an idea on what Microsoft Bookings is as a service. Okay, so a service, again, service you can set whatever what in our case we could do Teams, OneDrive, that type of service, or you can just do a general hour, 4 hours, 8 hours. The staff again can be a person or a resource. Okay. And then once you have your events set up to use and ready, you would come here, turn on who it's available for, and you just post that resource. Okay. One thing that Microsoft has added, I think in the last few months, I want to say 3 or 4 months ago, was the ability to book individuals. Okay. And a lot of faculty use this to book their time without using the whole bookings. They want people to be able to book them individually. Okay. That we can do through Outlook. So if I go to Outlook Online, and it has to be Outlook Online, there's a bookings with me. So that's where they can, you can give a time frame within your calendar. They don't see your calendar. I mean, they see it as far as whether or not you're busy. But if I come to Outlook Online, log in with my credentials, and I go to calendar, right underneath here, if you haven't started yet, it might say create booking page. Mine says go to my booking page. Okay. So if you go to your calendar on Outlook Web, and now if I say go to my booking page, now you can set up your personal bookings with me. And you'll have the option when you first come in here, you'll see 2 options. You'll have one for public, meaning you can make this posted anywhere. So you can email this out, or a private. So they have to have the link to book you. Okay, it's a private. If you create a private one, it goes one step further. Not only private, but you can make this that it's only good for one time. It could be a one-time use. Private. But let me go back out of this. Oops. Okay. Let me just create a booking and just to show you how this is used. So I can hit either one of these pluses here. Because I can switch from public to private. So I'm gonna hit plus. So let's say that I want to have office hours, and I want to make my I want to be available just from office hours. You can categorize. You can create your own category. You can say new category. Here's office hours that I've created earlier. So that way you can filter by the different categories. And you can have a description. Location, if you have a room, or if you toggle this on, it'll send them it's a Teams meeting, being Microsoft. So you can either have an office location, or if you say, yeah, we can just meet virtually, you can toggle that on. And then the increments, you can go by 15, 30, or you can have a custom time, and obviously this 30-minute office hours. And this again is where you can use my regular meeting hours, or I can say my custom availability, and I'm only available, for office hours. And again, you can set your time here. Okay. And again, go ahead.
It does compare to your existing calendar too. So you may have Monday, Wednesday, and Friday as office hours at specific time, but if any of those time slots are filled, you obviously wouldn't get booked during those time frames. Is that right?
Thank you, Lisa. Yeah. So this bookings and bookings with me, all of them, when I say the Outlook calendar, it's really a Microsoft calendar. So whether you made an appointment in bookings or in Teams or in Outlook, it's all using the same calendar. So you're right. Like Lisa said, if I want to do Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I'll just simply hit the X here and say, okay, you can have me Monday, Wednesday, Friday in the afternoons. Okay, I don't want you coming in my office the first thing in the morning. And then the same thing here. Or if you want, you hit the plus, you can add a break. Okay. Or maybe there's a date range. Maybe you're only going to do it like the 2 weeks before the end of the school year. So you can say, okay, I'm going to make myself available these 2 weeks during this time. Okay. And let's just look under advanced options here. Now, this is also important. Buffer time before the meeting. You don't want people booking you, at 1 o'clock, one at 1:30, and one at, right after each other. So you can get a little buffer time before or after a meeting. Maybe you need to take a break. Give me a 15-minute break before and a 15-minute break after a meeting. Okay. So then if somebody books me at 1 o'clock for 30 minutes, the next one wouldn't be able to book me until 2 o'clock. Also, the minimum lead time. How far in advance do you want to know about this booking? An hour? I would probably say at least a day. I want to know a day ahead of time if somebody's books me. And then how far out can they book you? How much in advance? You say, well, you can only book me up to 30 days in advance or something. So that is the features for that. Now, if I flip over to a private, so this will appear on your booking page. And let me just show you what that looks like before I just switch over to private. Let me just save this office hours. So here's my office hours. I don't know which one I just did, but just to give you an idea, I'm going to click on this one. I have the option to copy the link, to share a link, to duplicate it, and then modify it, make it private or delete it. So if I just say copy a link, this is what it will look like to the end user. Let me just copy and paste that on this menu bar. So this is what they will receive. Here's my booking page. You get 30 minutes. It will show them what times are available, and it has it kind of circled because I'm only available, I think I set those time slots. Yeah, there's no times because that was, I made it a 2-week period. So on the 17th, I'm only available these times. Okay, so as somebody who, if I'm booking a time with, like if this was Lisa and I was booking a time with Lisa, it will look at Lisa's time and at my time. So it'll look at both times and say, okay, you're both available here. Okay. So it's always looking at your calendar. Now, if I make this a private one, and I already had one down there. Now when I come here and I say, I can copy, now I have one more option, share, duplicate, make publicly. A copy a single use link. So if I send this out, say to Lisa, it will, and she uses it, it's only good for that one time. It'll delete that link after she uses it, after she selects her option, okay? The copy link, this is where I might send it out to multiple people. But this is only for one person, one time. So people are starting to ask about this, and we've done some individual trainings on this because they want to waive. They don't want to have to send back and forth. Okay, I'm available at this time. They just rather give people, here's the link, and you can book me at your leisure or whatever time's convenient for you. Lisa, are you monitoring the chat there? I didn't open up if there's any questions. And if you all,
I haven't.
Okay, and if anybody online has this, I should have mentioned this earlier. This is informal. So, oh, you know what? Let me make sure you all can unmute yourselves here. I hope I haven't blocked you. Nope, you all, okay. Yeah, feel free to unmute or ask questions as we go along. The next thing, they think where bookings, not bookings with me, but bookings, the original is headed is to something called virtual appointments, because we're starting to see a lot more of that within Microsoft. Because you can do some things in virtual appointments that you can't do in bookings, and of course, vice versa. But within the over on the left rail on the navigation bar, you're able to add different apps. And one of the apps that you can add is called virtual appointments. So you can add virtual appointments. And what that allows you to do is manage any of your bookings that we have set up. So if I click on virtual appointments, because I've already added that. it'll come up to home screen, and I've already opened up. I've already added this Microsoft 360 or M365 training, and I can always switch to another bookings. It says new booking calendar. You can't create a booking calendar. You have to go to the university to do that. But I can go to open up an existing one. Across the top, you have home, the schedule. I'll skip those two and manage. These two are if you have a Teams premium license, and we are checking into premium license. I think it's $7 a month per user, but there's other features that we currently need that require premium. So that's what that little diamond there is premium. So anyway, if you look under the home of the Microsoft M365 training booking, you'll see a lot of the stuff is the same that you would see in bookings. The appointment types, that's actually the services. So if you look at bookings, it's called service. Here it's called appointment type. Here's the staff again. And then the bookings page. So you can get to some things here, but you can't get to as much. But the one thing that you can do here, and again, I'm under manage. One of the things that I do like that you can do here is if I go to the service here, let's say I'm looking at Zoom, I can edit that appointment or that service. I call it a service. One thing that I can do here is toggle this on. It says guest joins on the web and staff can message them in a lobby chat. So if they're in the lobby waiting, I'm able to message them, but also they don't need to have Teams on their phones, their mobile devices, or on their tablets. They don't need to have Teams at all. They can simply join via the web. Right now, before this, if they're like, well, I want to go to a Teams meeting, but I can't do it on my phone. We used to tell them, just put the app on your phone. You don't have to log in. You can type in whatever you want as your name. Well, with this, I can toggle that on. Now, when I save it, when I send the appointment out or when they book for that service, it'll automatically send them a link to a website, and they can just type in whatever name they wish. But it's a secure link just for the people that have booked that. So that's one thing now that they can do here. And again, that's under manage. The one thing they could do under booking schedule, this is nice, especially if you have a lot of staff. So I could come here and let me scroll up. So I can see all the staff's, calendars here as it pertains. Actually, I guess it's just, at least let me go back one page. Yeah, so these are anything that is a Microsoft Teams meeting, I believe. But again, I think from what I've heard that things are going to go to virtual appointments. I mean, I like bookings because that's the purpose of bookings, and bookings is changing. They're improving it because, like I said, when they first brought it out, it was for small businesses, right? Let me just go back to bookings. Do you all have any specific questions? I don't know if you all have seen bookings before. Oh, yeah.
Looks like Lacey does have a question.
Lacey does. Okay, Lacey.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. I'm so sorry to bother you, but so I'm trying to follow along because I'm a trainer here at MU Healthcare. So I was like, this is really nice to be able to practice and to do a booking with me. So I went ahead and was trying to do I created like a one-on-one consultation for 30 minutes. And so that way, if someone emails me and they're like, hey, if you could just go over something, I could be like, hey, book with me. But every time I do it, it's showing like that I'm available at 3 a.m., 4 a.m. And I don't know, like I have clicked to say follow my regular business hours. But I also have, so I sent it to my coworker to see, I'm like, is it showing 3 a.m.? And I'm like, will it let you book? And sure enough, it'll let her book like 3 a.m.
Okay. So are you saying you're doing the bookings with me, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So have you set your business hours in Outlook?
Yes, I have. Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Because it should follow. Oh, this is my personal bookings. Go to my bookings page.
Mm-hmm. Now I did a public and a private, but
Okay. Yeah. So on a public one, let me see. Oops. Let me just open this up. Use my regular meeting hours. See my regular meeting hours. Okay.
yep, I've done that.
And you're,
And
go ahead.
that's okay. It's going to take a minute to open up. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
So I have my work week like Monday through Friday.
Okay.
And then I've got my start time like 7:30 a.m. to end time of 4. I don't know if it says use dynamic. I'm not sure of those 3 options, right? So I have right above, like underneath that, I'm going to remain in the central time zone permanently. Change my meeting hours to match that. Oh yeah, see, you've already got it check marked. Maybe that's what was wrong.
Which one? I'm sorry. Which one is that?
So that line right underneath it, it says the current time zone for your meeting hours. That was like unchecked for me. So I'm wondering if that did that.
Wow. Could be.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, that's good. Yeah. I'd be interested to know, because if somebody else has this issue, that's something we'll have to have them check. So try that again.
Fixed it.
Okay.
That fixed it.
So you had an option here that you had to select at the current time zone is Central Time. Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That's it. So if it's not checked, then they're able to book at whatever time.
Yeah, because I didn't want to publish it.
Sure.
My
Oh, yeah.
Until I was like, okay. So I tried it with my colleague, and yeah. So if that's not checked, yeah.
Wow, that's good to know.
Mm-hmm.
Because I must have set mine a long time ago and forgot about it. So that's a good question. I'm glad you brought that up.
Thank you, guys.
You're welcome. Let me go back to bookings. There was something else that I was going to mention here, and it must not have been that important. I just can't remember what it was. So if I go back, we talked about the services, which one she's with. To add somebody to the service, you would just go to the service, and then when you go to staff, you add people. Edit the service. Assign staff to that service. This was what I was mentioning, the new things, how things were changing in bookings. So up till a couple months ago, you would only have a single staff. So Lisa and I could both be in here, and it would just look at one of our appointments. The first one that was available, then it would, place that booking. But it was kind of random. If we're both available, seems like it was random on who it would book it with. Now they've added multiple staff. So if we have a training that we both want to be available for, then I would do multiple staff, and I'd put both of us in there, and it would look at both of our calendars and make sure that we both were available. So this multiple staff is a new option here, a new feature. You can also turn off, allow customers to choose a staff. So let's see, Lisa, we're both under, let me discard this. We're both, we might be both under this one here. So if I edit this service, assign staff, we're both here. So they could, in essence, just choose which one they want. If we don't want them choosing, then we just turn that off if we don't allow them to do. One thing I will mention, this is what brought up the Teams Premium. It used to have the ability to text people about notifications. You could turn that on, and then when they have a booking, it says, would you like to be text as well? Right now, that's a premium edition. Like I said, it used to be an option, but it's not right now. So
yes, and our tenant does not allow for that at no cost. It would be an add-on.
Yeah, and right now it's $7, but we're still working on all the details of that. Now, one thing they did add, anything that's new here, there's an email follow-up, and you can customize the email that goes out. You can add a follow-up email after your service. I'm hoping, and I know a request has been put in, that we could submit a form, so we could have a questionnaire, right? In our case, was this training beneficial, or what improvements would you like to see for this training? And you all would put, well, Greg, if you would remember where it is, you can customize your staff time, which is under, again, edit staff, and you can customize your time. Which, Lisa, I need to, let me do this. Okay, I need to put that back. Okay, I messed with yours. Okay, well, is you all have any other questions? I want to be respectful of your time. We do have about 5 more minutes, but I always like to leave a little time at the end for any kind of questions. If there's anything pertaining to bookings with me are not too much out yet with the virtual appointments, or just anything else in general with Microsoft 365. While you're thinking, I just want to remind you of our training site. So if you go to divisionofit.missouri.edu, so it's doit.missouri.edu, scroll down to the bottom middle of this training. And this Teams Talk Tuesday, that's what we're a member of here. This Microsoft 365 training, if I click on that, you'll see a list of upcoming trainings for this month. We scaled it back a little bit just because of the end of school year. But one thing we've added this month is the Microsoft question and answer brown bag. During lunchtime, we have a couple of those. You could bring whatever questions and we'll see if we can answer them. If not, we will get back with you on those. We got some intro coming up. Microsoft Loop. If you haven't seen that, we mentioned a little bit today. We have that coming up next week. And also, Teams is doing away with Wiki, that app. They're moving everything to OneDrive, which is nice because you can do a lot more, of course, in OneDrive, and it's saved on your, OneNote. OneNote files are saved on your OneDrive, but they're going from Wiki app to a OneNote app, and then Microsoft Sway. So these three are actually really interesting. If you haven't seen Microsoft Sway, I can take any document, like a Word document, and maybe I have some links in there. I can turn that easily into a web page and make that available. So, on training, I could have different links. Like on this, this might be, it didn't come from a Sway, but if I had a Word document, I can save it as a Sway, as a website, and publish that and make that available. So, I don't know who had the question earlier. If that was Lacey, I think. Yeah, so Lacey, if you're a trainer, you might find that interesting. And we have pre-recorded trainings, so you could come down here on this Percipio and look at some pre-recorded trainings. I think we have Loop and Sway both on there. Then, again, if you need to book, we're talking about bookings today. This is how you can book time. If I click on this, it'll go out to our training site, and here's the services we offer. Again, you just pick a service, and then you pick a day, and it'll show you the times that we're available. Looks like I picked a good day there. But I thank you, ladies, for coming out. And if you have any other questions, don't hesitate to reach out.